This is crazy as the St. Louis Blues have made multiple moves as Doug Armstrong announces that Logan Mailloux has been assigned to the AHL with another player coming up. But not only that, we get a huge update on Jake Neighbours as the St. Louis Blues forward gets huge news which has fans fired up. We're going to break down all this, including exactly what Doug Armstrong said on Logan Mailloux, the move they made from the AHL, and so much more in this episode, and you're not gonna want to miss it. But Darius, let's just jump straight into this today, where we did get the news coming from Doug Armstrong and the St. Louis Blues that Logan Mailloux has been reassigned to Springfield and Hunter Skinner has been recalled. Now we're gonna dive into this before getting into the quotes from Doug Armstrong and the update on Jake Neighbours, but Hunter Skinner is someone that a lot of fans know and someone that Jim Montgomery spoke very highly of in this past preseason with the Blues. He hasn't played an NHL game yet. Coming through with Springfield, he does have 2 points over 11 games, including a goal. What is your thought on Hunter Skinner joining this team, and do you think he gets his debut on this team?
Yeah, absolutely. He's going to play a game. I think there's a reason that they made this move. Now, is he going to play the next game? I'm not so sure. Maybe they're going to give him a chance to get acclimated and get into a practice and stuff like that. But like you mentioned, Jim Montgomery spoke very highly of Hunter Skinner in the preseason. If you look at, his entire career to this point, he has kind of bounced around teams to a degree, I guess, to organizations, of course, but he's really figured it out the last little while. I would argue the last 2 seasons at the AHL level, and he looked like he was a borderline NHL player in this year's training camp and preseason. If a lot of people remember, just 2 months ago, the conversation was Hunter Skinner or Matthew Kessel. That was what the conversation was for seventh defenseman on the team, and obviously Matthew Kessel won that because, as we were talking about on the channel, Jim Montgomery likes a little bit of NHL experience. So obviously it makes sense. Kessel, was with the team last year, knows the system, stuff like that. So that made sense in this moment. But to get to the other player going down, Logan Mailloux has been horrific. I mean, just horrific. He has no points in 9 games that he's played so far this season. He's been scratched multiple times. They said that, and Jim Montgomery and the coaching staff said, once he was scratched, once he came back, things should have been ironed out. Not the case. He has not been able to figure it out. He's been horrible. There's a Reddit account made after him being on the bottom left of the impact score charts every single time that he's in the lineup, which, I mean, poor guy. At the end of the day, I think that he is going to be a good defenseman. At the end of the day, the trade will at some point look okay. Definitely not right now. But this is where we're at, and I'm excited for Hunter Skinner. I think that he can make a little bit of an impact. He's hungry for this opportunity. And in terms of Logan Mailloux, he needs to go back down, find his confidence again, and then come back up to the NHL. When is that going to be? Let's not put timelines. He has to find his confidence, and that's not an easy thing to do. And that was the thing I feared the most heading into this season, Mark. If he lost his confidence, if things didn't go well, I really thought he was ready for the NHL, but maybe it's the system. I don't know what it is with him right now, but he's got to go down, get comfortable again, find that confidence.
And I think the big thing is looking at Hunter Skinner. As we said, a piece that came back in the Tarasenko trade, he's getting very good confidence coming through in the AHL, and he looked great in camp. So getting this call-up is going to be fun, and I do think he's going to make his NHL debut with this Blues team at some point in the future. Maybe if Kessel has a bad game, we see him jump straight in. The biggest question around him is, of course, waivers as you're getting further into the season, which we're going to cover completely. But going into Logan Mailloux, the once looking like a prodigy coming through and not living up to expectations with this Blues team, he did get 9 games, like you said, a -12 in the bottom left corner of every scorecard, which is not a good thing. But looking at Logan Mailloux, we've seen stints with him with the Montreal Canadiens, 4 points over 7 games, including 2 goals, 2 assists. He was playing a lot, and even speaking to Josh on Habs Digest, he thrives in a power play environment, which he has not been able to do with the Blues. His confidence is at rock bottom. Looking at the stats, he's not even throwing as many hits as you would expect. But I think the biggest thing is getting him into the AHL and not pushed into the NHL is exactly what this team needs to do with the young defenseman. I mean, looking at Doug Armstrong, obviously the season for the Blues and Logan has not started the way we wanted to. And I think it's important for him to go down and play a number of games to get his game back in order to unlock his mind. This makes me feel like this is not going to be maybe a long stint. Yes, Logan Mailloux needs time in the AHL, but Darius, I don't know if you feel different, but it seems like this management group and coaching group do trust this kid. They want to get him in.
Yeah.
Could you see if they got further into the season when the Blues start playing well to get him straight back into this lineup?
Yeah, he will be back. And one thing that stands out to me about his numbers at the AHL level, and this is a big thing as to why I think they're sending him down right now, is because, 2 years ago, I mean, 47 points as a defenseman in 72 games, your first year pro, great numbers. And then when you look at last year, he took a dip in terms of production. In 63 games, he had 33 points. But like Josh, who you just brought up from Habs Digest, was talking about, he was working on different aspects of his game. So he took a step back, at least offensively, because he knows that's a strength. And he was working on different areas of the ice, different areas of his game, which I think is a great sign. To me, the reason that they're sending him down, and a lot of what Doug Armstrong is talking about right now, is to unlock his mind. Exactly that. He has done nothing right. And again, I'm not trying to dogpile him on him or anything like that, but he has done very little right at the NHL level. So it becomes psychological at some point where, as a player, you feel like you can't do anything right, and every play is going to be bad because you think it's going to be bad, right? So you just get into that cycle that keeps going over and over again. So they need to get him down to the AHL level where he can get his confidence back up, unlock his mind a little bit. I love that quote from Doug Armstrong, where he can start feeling good about some plays, put some passes together, make some good plays, feel good about yourself, that positivity, and we will see him again because the organization does trust him. He's going to be that guy. He's going to be able to run a power play at some point. The skill is there. But when your confidence, when your mentals are sewered like this early in the season, especially as a young player, and just being traded away from the team that drafted you, it is tough. It is tough. So he's going to go down there. I think he's going to be fine, but there's no doubt about it. The start of the season has been very rough. And I know people like to compare, it's not apples to apples, right? Like they're trying to compare Zach Bolduc and what he's been able to do to start the season to Logan Mailloux. They made the trade for a reason, not necessarily to match the points of Zach Bolduc right now.
And I think the big thing is Doug Armstrong continued in to say, I'm not making excuses for him, but he needs a reset to sit out and go in on a team that's not functioning at a high level right now like we are. We're not supporting him when he's in there. He went in to speak a lot about him not playing with a lot of veterans. I mean, looking at the defensive pairings, he did get some time, of course, with Fowler, Broberg. Both struggle playing with Logan Mailloux, but starting the year with Tyler Tucker, who doesn't have the most experience, probably did not help the kid. But fans, what is your thoughts on Logan Mailloux being sent down? Do you think Hunter Skinner gets his debut? And this goes straight into our last topic today, where we get a huge update that it looks like Neighbours is on the Blues bench in full gear, ready to skate after the team's practice. Now, we know he went down with an injury. He still needs to be reevaluated. But Darius, what is your quick thoughts on just seeing him back in full gear coming out after the Blues conclude practice?
Yeah, this is really good news, obviously, because we were told that he wasn't going to be skating for a while still, and he would be reevaluated, which he still is going to be, and he's going to be out for a little while still, but he's back on the ice and looks like he's in full gear, which is good news. He's skating around, trying to get comfortable. So I think that signals that he maybe not is nearing a return like this week or anything like that, but things could be moving a little bit quicker, or at least going to plan right now. So he will be returning at some point because he was the best Blue, I think, in terms of offensive production to start the season. So that's a big thing. And last thing on Logan Mailloux, we're not going to see him for a while. We're going to be keeping tabs on him, but I think it's a really good thing for him to go down to the AHL at this point, get his confidence back up. And like you mentioned, and like Doug Armstrong said, no one was really playing well. So you can't even shelter him in that way, right? Like that's a big thing for his development and all of these things. Like when no one's really playing well and the team's faltering, you can't hide anywhere if you're Logan Mailloux, whereas you could probably if the team was playing well and some other guys were playing up to par. So I think that's a big thing as well.
And I think the biggest thing with the team is we're going to see a lot of players rejoining the team. Logan Mailloux will come up at some point, but fans, what is your thoughts on the team? Where do they need to prove in? Do you think Logan Mailloux gets his way back up to St. Louis at some point when he gets his confidence? Where does Jake Neighbours go into this lineup once he returns? Let us know all your thoughts down in the comments. And speaking on comments, let's go straight into comments of the day. Coming through with Berube used to be at him as well. Personally, I think trading would be a huge mistake. The guy has mad skating skills and is a true goal scorer. And listen, we want to say we don't think trading Jordan Kyrou is the right move. We were just covering everything that was reported yesterday from multiple people, including Elliot Friedman. Go check that out if you haven't already. But who do you think on this team is the next man up to take that step? Are we going to see Jordan Kyrou take over and lead this team? Let us know all your thoughts down in the comments. While you're down there, leave a like, subscribe, share this with your friends. We'll be back in another episode, so keep right for that. But I've been your host, Mark, with my co-host, Darius, and take care, Blues fans.